back, everyone. I have with me now Anna van Straussenberg, who's the owner of Anna van Straussenberg CPA. Anna, before you came on, first of all, Merry Christmas. I love what you're wearing today. Look at you all,
Merry
Christmas and
Christmas.
holiday.
I thought, well, this is the holidays. I should put some red and green on and
I love it.
Be very festive.
And you know what's really exciting, folks? You can actually go up onto Facebook and watch us in here doing this live, which is really fun to do. Just put in Networking Arizona, and you can watch us live in here. We're hot. So hi to everybody out there. And I'm actually wearing my Christmas outfit, too. It's just a little different. Anyway, I just want to say thank you for being my sponsor. Thank you for being on and helping the people out there. Tell everybody you had something very specific that you wanted to talk about today. And the first thing was people over 72 and what they need to do about the required minimum distribution.
Yes, Carol, thank you for having me on. Hey, I just came across a reminder from the IRS. I'm always reading those emails every day, and it says, don't forget, if you're over 72, that you must take your required minimum distribution from your IRA accounts. And how do you figure that out? Well, your broker or the person holding your IRA should be able to give you the amount you should take out. And that's very important because you can be subject to penalties. Now, I know a lot of people, there was, in 2020, you didn't have to take it out. And a lot of people missed it in 2021. So don't miss it in 2022. You don't want to have to pay a penalty. It can be like $500 or more.
That's probably about as much as you're supposed to take out. So
yeah. Anyway, but if you do make a mistake, I can help you because there is a form you can file that say, I made a mistake and I'm taking it out. But you know what? If you take it out late in 2023, you still have your 2023 requirement to take out that distribution, and then you're doubling up and you end up paying more tax. So get it out of there by the end of the year if you haven't already.
So now tell them a little bit about yourself. A lot of people, you wanted to talk a little bit about getting prepared, right? Getting prepared for taxes, and you want to give some tips. Right now we're going to not talk about tips, but what I want to talk about is hiring a CPA and what that really means for somebody.
Well, there's a lot of people out there that call themselves accountants, but they're not governed by all the rules and laws that a CPA must follow. And one of the things that we must follow is we have to have 40 years of continuing education. So we are always striving to educate ourselves, and I can't think of that I'd be able to do taxes without the constant education because tax laws are changing all the time. I get several newsletters from the IRS every day with new updates and tips and all that stuff. And every year Congress makes little tweaks to the tax code. So it's really hard for anybody out there, unless you're constantly studying it, to know everything. And, people think they can rely on, those tax programs like TurboTax. But the thing with those is if you don't know the law, you might actually answer the questions incorrectly, or I've seen cases where people have put the same amount in twice. And you don't want to double up on your income if you don't have to. If you don't understand what it is that the software is asking you, it can be confusing and you can get it wrong. And you know what? Everyone I've reviewed that's done their own tax returns on TurboTax, I have found errors. Even from somebody who is an accountant friend of mine, but not a tax preparer. She gave me her TurboTax and she goes, yeah, I have a feeling I did it wrong. And you know what? I found a couple of mistakes in there and it changed her numbers. So better to find somebody who's really qualified like myself.
And also, let me talk to you a little bit about Anna. She is all about excellence and integrity in accounting. You were just nominated for the Torch Award for Excellence, and at Better Business Bureau, I was there. And let me just tell you something. What I love about you, and when you talk about integrity, first of all, if you don't know the answer, you find the answer. And you work with people. You do both individual tax and you do business, but you don't need to be a large-sized company. A lot of people think if I'm going to have a CPA, I need to have a big company or I got to have a lot of money. That is not the case.
No, I can help you grow. I can help you set up your QuickBooks or your accounting system in a way that you can learn how to use it properly. And when you learn how to use it properly, you get to know your numbers, and your numbers matter. And how you classify your numbers matters. And so it's important that you can be able to read your financial statements, and then that allows you to make good decisions. Maybe you need to spend more in your advertising budget. Maybe you need to focus in an area in town. Like some clients I know have multiple locations that they work in, and so it's good to be able to focus that.
The other thing is that she actually walks with you hand in hand. You don't just do taxes once a year and take what they bring to you, and then at the end of the year say, okay, here, it's all done. No, you work with them all year long, but you also teach them. You are not about just going through their numbers. You literally want them to understand everything about their business, and their numbers are the most important thing.
Yeah, my policy is for business clients, I like to see their books 3 times a year. The first time would be in June or July, and I look through their books for half the year. And that kind of gives us a feel of where they're going, and then we can talk about it. But the real time I really love to look at people's books is in November, so I can see everything in their books through the end of October, and then get the numbers that they have to date through November. And by that time I look at it, November's almost done. So you got 11 months of good numbers. And a lot of my business clients, they know what they're going to do in December. Some people have really slow months in December because it's Christmas time and people aren't thinking about their kind of services. Other people get really busy at Christmas time. And these clients, they know how that works out. So we put all the numbers together and we project what their tax liability is going to be. And so then we talk about it afterwards. And well, are there any changes you can make? And they'll say, hey, yeah, I've been waiting to buy a new piece of equipment. Maybe this is a good time now so I can get the tax write-off. Or, gee, my income's a little low. Maybe I should, see if I can get some of those customers to pay early. They can make some logical decisions. Then, of course, the next time I look at their books is when I do their tax returns. And I like to see how close we came, and then adjusting.
Oh, she loves that.
Yeah, I love to see if I got close, and I guess I'm a nerd that way.
Well, but you also love to say that you're a nerd. That's what's wonderful about CPAs.
I own it. I was teased in school for being kind of a nerd because I was good at math and science and that kind of stuff. But I've learned to love it. I don't feel ashamed of it anymore because.
And you will not be either, because you're going to love her.
Mm.
She's absolutely fantastic. She's all about excellence and integrity in accounting. Her phone number to call is 480-964-4030. That's 964-4030. She does free consultations. She works nationwide. She's rated with the Better Business Bureau. You can check her out on her website, which is ArizonaCPAs.com. We're going to go to a break, and when we come back, I want to talk. You said that the IRS wants you to start taking steps to get ready for tax season. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Check her out on her website. It's ArizonaCPAs with an S.com. She does free consultations. It's tax season now. Everybody's getting ready for that, getting all your stuff out of your drawers and all of that. Call her. Her phone number is 480-964-4030. That's 964-4030. We'll be back in just a minute.
I'm gonna shuffle over just a hair.
Okay, and we're still
I was noticing it on the camera, like, oh darn, I'm just like cutting myself off here.
Come on over here.
Now I'm good. Now I'm good.
So, for this time of the year, okay, people are crazy busy with what's the holiday, but getting ready, you said it's very important that
Well, one of the things they mentioned is trying to find a CPA to do your taxes or a qualified tax preparer.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one of the things I saw that's mentioned. And the other thing is people should gather up what their deductions are. Did you have a lot of medical? Did you have,
I think that's a really good thing to talk about too. a list of deductions, okay?
And also, the flip side of the, taking out the RMDs, well, the other side is making sure people have maxed out their 401k for the year.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So.
Could people think, oh my God, I've only have 10 more days or whatever? Is it too late?
It might be a little late, but you may be able to say to your HR, take a little bit more this time.
Okay.
Maybe get a short paycheck, but
your IRAs, maxing out your 401ks.
Mhm.
Okay. And
yeah.
there it goes. Go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, so many people don't, huh?
You're doing
What?
your nail polish on your toes.
Yeah, well, I had to wear open-toe shoes so I could show off my red
I love them.
toenails.
It's Christmas time.
I got sparkly red toenails.
I love it.
So I had to show those off. So I had it done because I was going to a Christmas party, and I thought, gee, I'm wearing my Christmas dress. I'm gonna show off my toes.
Absolutely, absolutely, you should. And this is a great time of the year. Everybody thinks okay, this is the perfect time. People should take the time if they have that. It's slow. If they're slow, take that time to get ready.
Yeah.
Because when you're busy, everybody puts it off. You throw it all together,
Yeah.
and you miss certain things. Is
Yeah.
that what happens?
Well, that happens. People call me halfway through the tax return. Oh, I found something else. So
All the time.
Anyway, I'm going to talk about how to get organized.
Perfect.
So
You look great.
I like to be. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I like my bright red today.
But also getting up early, I think is good for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can tell the difference.
Yeah.
You look really bright too.
Yeah.
Are you going to bed earlier?
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to get there. I was supposed to have my handyman come over and fix stuff today, but he had an emergency.
Well, we're busy. Here we go. So welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Anna von Straussenberg, and I'm so pleased that she's here with me again today. She is also one of my sponsors, and I appreciate you so much for everything. The end of the year is times when people are either super busy or in their business they might get slow. Take advantage of it. Let's talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we've been talking about during the break to Facebook land.
Well, this is a time to get organized. If you can sit down and look through your records and list, maybe if you made a lot of charitable contributions, you can make a list of that. Because some people, because the new tax law change, or the relatively new tax law change, a lot of people are phased out on itemizing. But there are some people who still can itemize, and also you can get a deduction for your charitable contributions on Arizona that sometimes you can't take on not charitable contributions, sorry, on medical that you can't take on federal. So, but also make a list if you've got a lot of mortgage and you make a lot of contributions and you have a lot of medical. Sit down and make a list of those. I encourage you. If you're good at computers, put it in an Excel spreadsheet and do one tab for charity, one tab for medical. And then set aside a file so as you get your tax documents, let's say your W-2, any 1099s, things from your brokerage statements, put those all in a nice file folder as they come in. So, label a file folder 2022 tax return info, and as they come in January, just keep putting those things in the file folder so you're ready to go as soon as possible. So, and hopefully you'll beat the wave of people that come in. A lot of people like to come in late March, and there's reasons. Sometimes people don't get some of their statements till March, but get as ready as possible now. get ahead of the curve.
Well, let me tell you something about getting ahead of the curve. And anything that you do to make your life easier, your CPA's life easier, it makes it easier on you because they don't have to go and spend the time and looking for things. And you said a lot of people literally will find something after they've given you your tax. Oh, I found this.
And it's, that costs you because I bill by the hour. So, and the reason I do that is because we deal with a lot of more complicated tax returns. And if you have a complicated tax return, I'm a good person to come to because I've been doing it for years. And if you have a lot of investments, I'm really good with that. If you're multi-state, if you have things out of state that you have to report for, because some people, belong to partnerships that are in different states, that is really in my wheelhouse. I am actually certified in 3 states. I'm certified in California, Arizona, and New York, but I have experience nationwide and even some international experience.
Her phone number to call, it's 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. She does free consultations. She does second opinions. She works nationwide. She's rated with the Better Business Bureau. Her phone number again, it's 480-964-4030. It's Arizona CPAs with an S.com. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about people and their 401ks and things that they need to do and to make sure that they're taking care of them. Maxing them out.
Yeah, this is something you should do going forward, but if you have time, I know it's getting towards the end of the year, but if you can make a bigger contribution to your 401k, that'll save you in taxes now, and then you'll have some retirement savings for when you finally do retire. And it's important. A lot of people just take kind of the minimum of their 401k and they don't look at the maximum. Of course, they are like, well, so I mean, I got a smaller paycheck, but, it's going to give you a bigger payout later when you retire. So, it's important to balance those out. Can you live with a little bit less money now to have a bigger amount later? And also, it saves you in taxes because it comes right off your income.
Well, listen, what we're talking about preparation right now, getting ready for tax season. It's a great time to do that if you can. And like she said, make lists, make sure. If you can do a spreadsheet, you help people with that too.
Oh, yeah, I can teach you how to do a spreadsheet.
And let me tell you how much she loves to teach people how to do that.
I have the heart of a teacher. Actually, I worked in the teaching profession before I became a CPA. So I actually have experience teaching people, and I love it. And so my clients tease me because I'll teach them something or instruct them to do something, and they roll their eyes and they leave, kind of jokingly, and say, "Oh, you're giving me more homework."
But there's nothing wrong with that because understanding your numbers, understanding your business helps you. As a matter of fact, I think you've told us before, if you know your numbers and you understand them, you can actually make more money, and you've helped people do that.
Yeah, it's important. When, I had a client when they started with me, their books were kind of a mess, and I helped clean them up.
Welcome to my world.
I helped clean them up, and then, help teach them about what their books were doing and what their books were saying, and they really grew that business from from actually losing money to making over $1 million net profit every year.
Let me tell you her phone number to call. It's 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. Have a consultation with her. I think that's the best thing to do. You do both personal and business tax. You do not need to be a large business. You help small to mid-size is your like you said, your wheelhouse, and complicated returns.
Yeah, and when you own a business, that always makes your individual return more complicated because depending on how you do your business, whether you're a Schedule C, which is reported on your individual return, or let's say you're an S corporation or a partnership, those things a lot of times flow to your individual return, so it makes it a little more complicated, and it's important to understand how those documents go together.
And today more than ever, I know they have all of these programs that you can buy, and you know, they do things on, you know, like that they have on television, the big box things. You know, it's so important to have somebody that can sit down and talk to you and understand your business. It is so important for your CPA to understand you and your business so they can help you. And trying to do these things on your own, that's not a good idea.
Well, if you're a business owner, you should not be doing it on your own. It's really important to have a CPA do it because there's so many complexities. Like, you know, if you own equipment, you have to take depreciation. Well, just how is the best way to take depreciation?
Lots of property.
Because there's decisions that have to be made based on what your net income is. There's bonus depreciation, but you can opt out of it. And sometimes you may want to because it may be lost. You know, if you're not making enough money and is creating a loss on that tax return, you know, it may not be the best option for you. You're not getting your bang for your buck. So you need to sit down with somebody who understands how the tax law works in relationship to businesses.
Her phone number again, I'm going to give it out. It's 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. ArizonaCPAs.com. That's with an S, CPAs.com. I was just thinking too, also, there's a lot of people that don't like to do their taxes. You know, they're behind in their taxes, and you can help with that. A lot of people, there's a lot of them that, especially with COVID and everything, their business kind of might have taken a dive, or they've gotten behind. Why have someone like you call and not let them try and do that either?
Yes, because one of the things you want to do is make sure somebody gets in touch with the IRS and finds out just how many years the IRS wants returns, because sometimes the IRS will do them on your behalf if you haven't filed for years. They just take the information they get. But it's important for us to sit down and talk with the IRS. I usually call them on the phone, so I get a power of attorney. And because I know the tax law, I'm better at speaking to the IRS than my clients are. And so it's important, and plus I'm a little bit detached, so I don't get emotional. I don't say things that may not be the right thing to say. And so, yes, I do back tax returns, and it's so important to get somebody like me involved.
Right, because they're brutal.
Yes, they can be brutal, but if, you know, I can sit down and talk to them and say, hey, can we get a hold on some of these, you know, notices and get some more time to pay, I can request that. I can, you know, give reasonable cause why these returns were late and request a waiver of the penalty. They won't waive interest, but they will waive penalties if you ask nicely.
And that's what she's trained to do. You know how to talk to them. That's what's important. Now, again, a lot of times I know it's the Christmas season and everybody, or the holiday season, whatever you want to say, and people tend to put this off.
Oh, yeah.
Please do not put it off. It's a great time to be able to start getting yourself together, and she wanted to give you some tips. Any last ones that you want to leave them with?
Hey, if you ever get a notice from the IRS in the mail, open it.
How many people don't?
Yep, I've had clients come in with unopened envelopes from the IRS.
And you know what? They don't. A lot of people put their heads in the sand with that for years because they don't want to talk about it, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And you, all you need to do is call Anna because she's there to help.
Yep. And I understand those notices, and I know how to deal with them.
But the best thing is having somebody that knows how to deal with them, and if you can get some things waived, that's all the better. The more that you can get waived to have to pay the IRS, the better it is. So hire yourself Anna. She's excellence and integrity in accounting. That's what she's all about. She does free consultations. She works nationwide. She's rated with the Better Business Bureau. She's phenomenal. And what I love about her, she loves being a nerd. So she loves numbers, but you are all about making sure that if you don't know it, you're going to make sure that they're going to find out, because you do that all the time. You're all about looking things up and making sure that you know everything. What are your final words?
Call me. My number is 480-964-4030.
Check her out. It's 480-964-4030.
I saw him counting down the numbers. I'm like, oh my goodness, we only got 10